Oh, hi guys. Hi guys. How are ya? I am super sick. I am so sick, and I'm just sitting here feeling really sorry for myself and wanting some chicken soup and hot tea, but I'm kind of too lazy to go and do either. So I'm just laying here feeling sorry for myself, and I just tried to. Okay, I'm not technologically savvy, right? We all know that. And so the way that it goes for the community post is that you can do a poll, right? So I was trying to do a poll and say, is NK innocent? Is she, or is she just? I mean, is she just guilty of meeting a man that? Well, I was gonna say, I mean, because I don't even think it was an affair. I mean, honestly, they were honestly, literally separated. The more and more that I read in the discovery, the more and more that I find it shows they were separated. So I don't really like to say that they were having an affair. I mean, the marriage between Shanann and Christopher was over. It was over. So can I say that, okay, is she just guilty of having an affair? I don't know. So I was trying to do a poll and I screwed it up, and I kept trying to do it. So I just left it as it is. I was just kind of wanting to know kind of where your guys' head is about whether or not she had a role in whatever happened. And we don't know. I mean, if she is guilty, what do you guys think she's guilty of? I'm just really wondering because I don't know. I don't know how to feel about her. And I mean, one thing is for sure in those pictures I just put, her body is perfection. I mean, the curves and the definition, just absolutely the epitome of the perfect female body. And that's kind of, I mean, it's kind of rare because she worked out, she was, you know, a gym rat. And so oftentimes when a chick is a gym rat, she'll look kind of too manly or too skinny or whatever. So it's really interesting how she had that kind of curve and the appeal. But I think her face is rather drab. And I don't think she has much of a personality. And I mean, she just doesn't have that charisma, you know what I mean? Where she's got this rockin' body. But who would know that she has that body underneath clothes and with that personality or lack of it? You know what I mean? It's like you can't have it all, I guess, Because if she had, like, because I wouldn't say that she's like pretty, you know what I mean? I mean, some people you see and they're just like, you're just like, wow, you're so pretty. And I don't really see that in her. And I don't see that she would be the type that would be able to just, walk into the room and captivate it because she doesn't have that charisma, you know what I mean? But so anyway, sorry I messed it up once again trying to do the poll. I'm just kind of wondering where you guys' head is at with that. And then I posted the other picture because it's just kind of weird. Like I saw this picture of SW posing with the Lexus so she could pretend that she got that from Fred, you know what I mean? And then around the same time when I was gathering pictures, there was this other picture of NK. And I didn't know that she had a white vehicle as well, but I was just looking at the two and I'm like, wow. I mean, the two of them, Christopher had a type. But I was reading the Discovery, and NK wrote like this several page posted like a, what do you call it, when bullet pointed, um she wrote kind of like a PowerPoint presentation, basically, of the way their relationship was. And she said that they were fucking like 3 to 4 times a day. A day. In the beginning of their relationship, 3 to 4 times a day. And she wasn't on any Thrive patches. Only he was. So how on earth did he have the energy, and her too, to work and like go the places they were and stuff and screw 3 to 4 times a day? That would be exhausting. I can't remember. I don't know that I've ever done such a thing in, I mean, it certainly hasn't been 3 or 4 times in the last 2 years combined, but in my glory days, I don't think there was ever a 3 to 4 times a day. And she was saying like that was their norm when they started. Like, wow. Wow. How would you have time for anything else? And he could just crank back up that rod. Hips, lips, and hot rods, right? So, honestly, I hope you guys can hear me okay because I can't speak up. I can't even sit up. I'm so freaking sick. I've been going and going. You know, my shoulders really hurt. You guys all know that. And I'm getting surgery on the 27th. So that just hurts me, right? And then I was moving a shelf and like this big old book and a shelf fell on my foot. And so my foot is really bruised and it was so swollen. I should put some pictures up of it. And then my damn tooth broke and I had to have it pulled because I am not going to spend that much on a root canal again. Because once you have the root canal, you have to pay for the frickin' crown, and I've not had time for that on my other tooth for like last 6 years. I had a big frickin' ass tooth pulled, a big bruised right foot, screwed up right shoulder. And now I'm so sick. I took the COVID test this morning. So funny, like, is that our new norm? You know, you used to get up and take a pregnancy test, you know, whatever. Now you got to take a COVID test. It's like the same thing. Like, I just felt like, okay, first in the morning, you know, and I'd gotten a little sleep, so the germs would be there if they were there, and it was negative. But here's the problem is that Friday, before I went out of town, I went to the doctor's office, wore my mask in the whole way, you know, didn't touch anything, but I had to do the labs. So I went to the doctor, got out of the doctor's, and then my husband and I drove up to South Dakota to see Naomi Judd. And it was really cool because we go to quite a few concerts. You know, if we can, we will. You know, so like it's like okay, we can drive up to 9 or 10 hours. You know, because the tickets have been free. My husband is a retired disabled vet, and they have this really cool thing on vet ticks. So if you or your husband is a veteran, tell me. I'll give you a code to go on VetTix, or you can find it yourself, and it's VetTix, VETTIX, and it's so cool because when a venue has a few extra tickets, like a week before the concert, they'll put out a certain amount to VetTix, and then the VetTix website has, you go on it and you get points every day for checking in and whatnot. And the veteran does. And so then when there are tickets, sometimes, you know, you have to put in your points, or sometimes they have enough that you don't need to put in points. But we've been just so privileged because those are the kinds of things we couldn't do when he was in the Navy, and he was gone, and I had my littles, and I was dealing with my screwed up kidney and everything else. But he'd get home and we'd switch out. I'd go to the emergency room. They'd admit me for a few days. And I'd get IVs and get back out and be able to take care of the kids again. I just had chronic exhaustion and dehydration and whatnot because my kidney wasn't working that well. So all of those times that we just pushed through, it's kind of nice to, make up for them now here and then. And so a couple tickets came up for Winona last week, and we were like, yeah, let's do it. So we drove up to South Dakota. So I went to the doctor's office, drove straight up to South Dakota, went to the Winona concert. It was freaking incredible. And then the next day we did, just kind of some touristy things and whatnot. And then drove back home. And then I really started showing. I was sick yesterday. So doing a concert in the doctor's office and just traveling. I'm hoping it's allergies, but I don't know. Please let me know in the comments if you guys have heard of a weird ass cold going around too, because I don't want it to be COVID, but it feels like how COVID starts out with the sore throat and the headache and the congestion and the tiredness. My body could just be saying, just lay down, just lay down. It could be just doing that, So anyway, I've been too sick to do any of the recordings that I wanted to do. I had a whole bunch of things I wanted to do yesterday for Indigenous Peoples Day. And I didn't. So the one thing I did, I was able to just pop up and I said, I put the proclamation that President Biden did, where he made yesterday National Indigenous Peoples Day. And so I said, thank you, President Biden, for making that step. It's a very small step in what we need to do to acknowledge what was done in the massive amount of suffering on the part of the Indigenous peoples. And as you guys might have seen, somebody was like, oh, yuck, President Biden, no way. No, I'm not saying anything about President Biden. It was not a political statement. It was just saying, thank you for making this a holiday and renaming it. It's a small step. So I wasn't trying to be political. I'm not, like I said, I'm not even quite sure that Biden is alive. I don't know. So, if anybody should be president, clearly it should be me. So that's about as political as I'm going to get there. So anywho, Winona started the tour. It was going to be the last tour with her mom, right? Well, they did a performance, and it's so weird. If you look at the last performance they did together, Naomi has that look that somebody with Alzheimer's has. That look where they just kind of look away and they don't really know where they're at or what they're doing. And it's really, really weird. And so I want to show that clip and put it on the community page to see if you guys see what I see. Because just in retrospect, I'm just going, how did this happen? What happened? Naomi had been open about suffering from depression most of her life. And her and Winona had a lot of problems. They were on Oprah and stuff because Naomi wanted Winona to be perfect and didn't want her to be overweight, and that caused a lot of friction, blah blah blah. Winona went on her own solo career when Naomi stepped aside because of her hepatitis C. And Winona, went and made a big name for herself. And they had toured a few dates here and then over the years, but not like a real big full tour together. This was going to be the big final tour. And honestly, it's like they did this performance. I'll show you. Naomi's wearing this blue suit. She looks absolutely beautiful, but she just looks vacant. And Winona was singing, and I'm not even sure that Naomi was singing. Like, if you listen to it, you can't really even hear any harmonizing. It was like she didn't know the words. And so I'm going to put that up for you guys to see. But because I'm so afraid of another copyright strike and commentary being wasted, so what I'll do is, I'll tell you guys here what I'm going to do so it makes sense when I put it on the community post. Just because I want to see if you guys see it too. I'd like to give commentary and see and do it, and I might try it, but we'll see. So anyway, I guess Naomi was staying at the other daughter's house, right? And I'm trying to blank. Frickin' cough syrup, man. Ashley. So she was at Ashley's house. And Naomi ate a gun. I mean, I can't say that word on YouTube, so sorry I just did. But, a G-U-N. Yeah. I mean, it's very rare for a woman to take her own life in that manner. Most women who do unalive themselves do so by an overdose. The percentage of women that do that is so low. And it really makes me wonder if she would have done it another way, would we have ever known that she was the one who ended her life? Or would they say that they just walked in on her and she passed away in her sleep? I think that the fact that it was done in the manner that it was done, they knew there was no way out of it. But it's just absolutely heartbreaking. And they had a scheduled performance at the Grand Ole Opry and everything. And her daughter, Ashley, said, she lost her battle with depression because she believed the lies that depression puts in your head. And the lie is that you're not good enough, and that your peers don't support you, and that you'll never be good enough, and that people don't think you're good enough. And those thoughts just become omnipresent and overwhelming. And they got to her. And you just look at it, and it's like she was married. She got remarried to Larry Strickland, and they've been remarried for, I think, 30 years. And she gave her entire will, fortune, everything to Larry Strickland to do with what he pleased. And I don't remember how much she was worth, but I think Winona is worth $12 million and Ashley is worth $14 million, which is really surprising because I didn't know that Ashley had done that much as far as acting. But it was interesting. So anyway, Winona went on with the tour. And I think it's amazing that she did. And for a couple of the events, she's brought Ashley with her. And I don't know if Ashley's with her for the whole tour, but she's brought Ashley up on the stage. And they've talked, about memories and stuff. And they say that, all of the rumors, don't believe them, that, they really do get along. It's just, what makes headlines that they don't get along, that they actually do get along really well. And then she tours, so she brought a couple people along, right? So she's had Little Big Town with her, and she's had Brandy Carlisle. And this time she had Ashley McBride and Martina McBride. Not related, totally separate. But it was really cool because I just love Martina. I think we've seen her in concert like 10 times. And this will be the third or fourth time just this calendar year. So we're big fans. And Martina's song Valentine is our wedding song. So pretty cool. But the concert was really cool. And the vet techs just set us up. We were like in row 10. It was amazing. And we were on the end, and there was no one next to us. And so the concert started out. And Winona was like in the center back. She was on a stage. And it was really weird because then, on the stage, there's the band and the big cameras, or big like TV screens of her. And all you can see of her from where you're at is the back of her arch. That red hair is the most vibrant red hair you've ever seen in your life. And then she did a couple songs, and then she said, all right, it's time to go. And she tried to get down out of this thing that she was in, and she couldn't. And she's like really fat now. Like, there's regular fat Winona, but she's like herking right now. And I understand it because the stress in my life right now, I'm super fat too, but not Winona size. And so she couldn't like get down these stairs. So like she had to like kind of roll and wobble out. And the security took her. And then I realized, I was like, oh my God, she's going to come right up my aisle. Holy shit. And so my husband had went to go get a Diet Coke. So he wasn't there. So I was like right there on the aisle. So I go to the aisle to record it. And then this thing with the worst BO comes up and like from behind me and like pushes on me. I was like, get off me with your BO, you tall boy looking woman with a weird bowl cut. But I was nice. I didn't say anything, and I just calmly took filmage, and I will put the little film of Winona walking past. So it was like just her bodyguard and then her, and that's it. So I got it really close, and I'll put that clip up there so you guys will know what that is, right? And like I said, I was well behaved. I didn't throw hands when a weirdo tried to get up closer. Hold on, let me get a drink of my cider so I can talk. So anywho, I've just been trying to get better so I can make some content, right? And I have so many stories to tell you guys. But whilst I am laying here, my body wants rest, so I keep trying to stay awake. But I fall asleep. And I fall asleep to Watts recordings, right? And I fell asleep, and oh, what do you know? It ended on a Shining Light video. And they put up like little videos of SW. And I think that they're just basically they serve as a tribute channel to her. And I saw the comments, and they are just crazy. They're still like literally in real time. It's even a few days ago. All of these women writing about what an amazing woman SW was and how they want to be just like her, and that they wish that she was there because they would be her best friend, and they just miss her being in the world, and she was the best mother and they aspire to be a mother like her. And I just look at it and I'm like, I've got to get over this virus because my work is not done. And then, apparently, I fell back asleep. And I woke up to the part of his confession where he was saying the one theory where he walked in on her unaliving the girls. And I listened to it so many times because I'm trying to decide if I can tell the difference between when he is telling the truth and when he's lying. And I don't know that I can. But the one thing was interesting is when the Hamburglar said, well, come on, through everything we've seen, she's a pretty good mom. And he said, yeah, and I was a pretty good dad too. And that was like as feisty as I've ever seen or heard him get. And that was him trying to be heard. And so I looked at the comments there and thought, hey, maybe some other people, kind of caught that. Oh no, it's another 8,000 comments of people talking about how wonderful SW was, and literally them tearing that apart about how he said that. And there are these people they're saying, oh my gosh, there's these channels that tear her apart because she's saying no CC. Well, she's on Facebook, and anybody who's around kids for more than an hour could tell that she was a wonderful mother. And I'm going, what videos are you watching where you can't see the truth? And if you're watching videos like the ones that show the whole thing, like Neek's Peak shows, and that's what you're getting out of it, maybe there's a hell of a lot of really shitty moms out there, and maybe that's the problem, is that maybe they see her and the way that she's doing things, and that's the way they behave. And I just think, wow. And then I saw them more comments as I went down, and it said, can you believe that his mother got her life insurance policy? Isn't that sick? And then people fed on to that, and they were like, oh my God, that's so sick that his mom got her life insurance policy. No, you fucking morons. It's the other way around. Her mother got her life insurance policy, and her mother put life insurance policies on the girls and her after her vision of Christopher putting the girls in the oil tanks. Okay? So these idiots that are out there hashing on Christopher's parents, making it seem like, oh, it makes sense because, oh, Christopher's whole family was bad, have twisted the information that they're accusing his family of what actually her family did. And I say to my virus here, virus, we don't have time for this. We have work to do. We need to get the truth out there, okay? And the virus says, go to sleep, bitch. Go to sleep. And like I say, I'm trying to fight the virus because obviously I know that there's work to be done, but my God. My God. So, I have to confess something here. I'm a virgin. Yep, I am. And I got just the tip on the other virgin thing. Yep, because here it goes. I'm a virgin to AD. I have never listened to AD. I am a virgin to AD. And when one of my friends kept telling me to listen to Dave the other night, I said, I am a virgin to Dave and AD. I've never listened to either. And she said, no, you really need to listen. And so I was like, fine, just the tip, just the tip, just the tip. And so I listened to Dave for like 2 minutes. And I saw him, and his tits looked good in Christopher's jersey. I have to say, he Filled it right out. And I thought, you know what? I don't know about him. I mean, I've heard nothing but bad things because I was listening to a person that said that person's really bad and that person's really bad. But now that I've been exiled or I was not ever known or not acknowledged from that said person who was saying all those people are bad, I hear that person is now friends with those people. So I honestly cannot even keep up with the way the Watts world turns. Of all of the days of the Watts world, as we watch, as the Watts world turns, these are the Watts of our lives. Like, honestly, and so then I get, these cute little emails and stuff and little messages and stuff, and they'll tell me what they hear on those because I'm trying my best to keep my virginity, and like I say, I got just the tip from Dave. Still a virgin to AD. So I got a note last night that said, oh my god, David's talking about the HPV warts that Christopher had that she showed his mother. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. There was more than one? Because all I remember is that she, being the saint that she was, saw a growth on his penis and sent a picture to his mother and then took him to the doctor and got that speed bump removed. And I never really thought about it until last night, as if those were warts. I was just, I wasn't really thinking of it because he was a virgin. And I was like, oh my god. Because I thought that he was a virgin. I thought that she took his virginity away. Yes, he had dated an older woman, but I didn't think that they had knocked boots. I thought that Shanann had done that, and I thought that that's kind of the reason why she was doing the condom thing, because she knew that she had the gift that keeps giving, is the warts. And I didn't put it together that she gave him the warts, and then he had to go and get the wart removed. That's what that was. And so I put it on my community page about how nice it was that she gave him those. Because if he was a virgin, and then all of a sudden he has all these speed bumps on his Rumpelstiltskin looking dong, that would be really bad, because then that would mean that NK has them. I mean, because those things are contagious as fuck. And I put in my comment too, because see, we had a big outbreak in my little town. And by the grace of God, I did not get them. I don't have HPV. But all my friends did, and they couldn't let their parents know, so they had to go to the Planned Parenthood on their lunch breaks to go and get the warts burnt off of their cervixes. Well, not that they each had more than one cervix. It's just that friends with cervixes. My friends each had a cervix. My friends, never mind. Because then I would have said Cervi 500. Oh, Lord, it all goes back, doesn't it? And those were cylindrical forms. And maybe they're big models of cervix. Anyway, I did not have the warts when I was going to Planned Parenthood for. I was pregnant my junior year. So, my friends were making warts, and I made a 8-pound, 2-ounce baby boy. Cooked him my whole junior year. Had him June of my junior year. So, like I say, put in the comments on my community thing. I hate that they only last 24 hours, because somebody said that he was not a virgin, that he had given it up to the Mrs. Robinson that he was dating, the older woman. But then how does he go from being a urchin to SW being a professional to NK who wants to bang it out 3 to 4 times a day? I mean, he must have been like, what in the world have I been missing out on? SW only puts out once every 3 weeks, and that's with condoms. And he had told her that they had separated around March or April, right? That was also the last time he remembered being intimate. So, if we look at her and her ways, you know that she went down to NOLA, had the time of her life with the other one, knew that she had messed up, didn't pack the condoms with her. So when she came back, she probably hopped on the speed bump so that then she'd be able to have a cover if she was pregnant, which she did turn up pregnant. And if you go back to when he said the separation was, that's when she obviously would have told him that she was pregnant, and he would have been like he was in that video, like, oh, I guess that when you don't do it, it happens, or, oh, I guess when you're not wanting it, it happens, or, oops, we did it again, that Britney song, you know? So then, this weekend, when I was away in South Dakota, I went to the Corn Palace. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to the Corn Palace, but I went to the Corn Palace in the 80s. And it used to be so cool. It was like this whole like thing was like made of corn and had all these corn decorations and all these people and crafts and all these things made out of corn. And now it's nothing. It's like there's this big like community center where they host sports games, and they have some things on the outside that are made with corn, and it's just so weird because like the 80s was so cool with the family fun attractions. It was the 80s was the time of when people had their mobile homes and trailers, and grandmas and grandpas would take the kids and go to the KOAs and go to all of the tourist attractions, and it was just the stuff magic's made out of, Then if you go and try and look back at it as an adult, you're like, whoa, it's not as cool. So then there was this sign, like this little like sign like the size of a garage sale sign, and it said the Prehistoric Indian Museum. And I'm like, what is that? I figured, maybe it's just, because a lot of those little museums, they don't have much, but they have, nice gift shops where they have responsibly sourced white sage and stuff. And so, I like to go to those and support them. And there wasn't much more information about this thing, right? But I was like, well, as long as we're over here, let's go. And I missed the turn, so I was going to give up. We found it. And it was the freaking coolest thing that I've seen in a very, very long time. It was so cool. And so it was this whole thing you could go into that they had recreated what the Pueblo Indians lived in. And it was this whole mud hut. And it showed, how they constructed it with mud and grass and whatnot. And about how the natives never wasted anything. They were the original conservatisms. You know what I'm talking about? Conservationists. They wasted nothing on the buffalo. Like even its tongue would be made into combs. The gallbladder juices would be made into pigments. I mean, every single thing of the animal that was given, that its spirit was given for the survival of the tribe, was used and appreciated. They made boats, these little primitive boats, out of sticks and a buffalo hide. So cool. I'm going to put a picture of it up. And so they went through and they found this huge archaeological area with all kinds of ruins and whatnot that they could put together to show that these people were there thousands and thousands of years before we even knew. And they had everything blocked off. And so they went through with this like proton magnifier, whatever, to see where they could build this building. And so they made this building circular around and on top of where they are digging for more fossils, treasures, etc. So where they put the building, they could be sure that there wasn't anything under it that wasn't yet discovered. And then they made it so it's like this kind of like a hexagon shape. And it's all around the areas in which they are still digging. So college scholars, people will go and they'll go through a section and they'll just go through this dirt and shake it and shake it, and they'll find these items, and it's incredible. I'll put up a picture. But that's archaeology, it's really studying what the people used and how they used everything. But I was thinking in my mind, I was like, wow, I'm channeling my inner Nicole Kessinger, because she was a geologist. It's in the same vernacular as an archaeologist, I think. But she could just go from like place to place and do contract jobs like she was, and go and find out about the land and the geology and the rocks in that area. And I was just thinking, that is really cool. So to tie things up, I don't know if she was innocent or not. Just definitely a very unique character. And have you ever been into this story and then you're like, wow, I'm having an inner NK moment here where I am seeing something kind of cool, where it would be cool to be a geologist? Has it ever happened to you? Has it ever occurred to you to go and hop on your husband 3 to 4 times a day? Like I say, 3 to 4 times a day. I don't know how you would work, and I don't know. I don't know how anybody would have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. But anyway, that's kind of where my head is at, and that's why when I do come out of my cold, and I'm doing the neti pot. The neti pot is amazing. The neti pot helps so much. Like I say, I've tested negative for COVID, but I'll keep testing because I don't trust that this isn't COVID. But that's where I'm at. And when I'm not sleeping, I pop something up on my community post and just kind of keep in the loop with everybody. And I love that you guys see that and you banter back and forth with me about it. So thank you. And thank you for all of the kind words. And thank you for all of the kind words you said about my kidlins. I wanted to kind of show you at least one picture of one of those triplet strollers so you can see kind of what I was dealing with and how I screwed up my arm so bad having 3 kids about the same size. They were all preemies. And then they all kind of equaled out, and it's funny now because they're teenagers, and they're all the one who was the most little is probably one of the biggest. So it's just kind of fun. So thank you all for all of the love and support you give me all the time. And I will be putting the things in my community post to follow up on what I'm saying here. And thank you all, and I hope that you all don't get this virus. Wear your mask. If in doubt, just pop the mask back on. You don't want to get sick. All right. All right. Thank you all for listening. Bye bye.